So normally I'll end up with little store-bought bonsai pots like this. I mean, this one is probably the best you're gonna get at a store-bought bonsai pots. A lot of them won't even have the hole in the bottom, and of course, you know, that's gonna kill it. It's not even useful for that purpose. So I decided I was gonna try to make one today, and I looked at some methods online, and I did find one that involved slabbing. I don't have a wheel at my house. I have wheels that I can access out of the places, but instant gratification. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to see if I can make one using the slab method. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Edges are kind of thin, and that's what a slab roller is for, which reminds me I need to correct myself. Before I said I was slabbing the clay, well, technically without a slab roller, it's a little bit different. So, now that I've got my clay flat, since I don't want to just do this by imagination, I already have a shape here I'm going to use as the bottom. So, I'm going to use this little tray thing, because I do like the shape. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to lay it down. Okay, so now I have kind of a basic bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the rest of this clay, and I'm going to re-wedge it. I'm marking. Okay, well, I'm going to do some more fast forwarding while I move this and I wedge that. Okay, so now I got a nice wedge piece of clay back from the scraps of cutting the bottom out. What I'm going to want to do is make this a next kind of hand-built slab to be elongated, because our sides are going to have to go all the way around the edge of the bottom. So this is quite a bit thinner than I'd like it to have been, because I didn't grab enough clay, but I could definitely still work with it, I think. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by deciding how tall we want our pot to be. Now traditionally I actually like my bonsai pots to be thinner. You don't want to have a big bulky pot taking away from the plant. So, say about, I'll go a little bit bigger than I'm probably going to end up using just to be safe. So if I screw up I can fix it. Let's go 3 inches to begin with, 4 inches. As I said, that's probably going to be a little bit on the large side. Maybe get a straight edge or something to cut with, so you don't cut a wobbly line. So, as you can see, now I have the sides cut out. I have them to the length I'd want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, a brush, or your fingers, wet it, and paint what you plan on being the bottoms with water. Actually, you know what? Let's do this by hand. So what you're going to do is you're going to form kind of like a thin layer of slip over the clay and around the sides. Now, this is just kind of like a, quick first time pot. So if you wanted to get, creative with your designs on the pot, around the pot, more power to you. And apply pressure until you see, a good connection. But you want to, avoid morphing your pot too much, because if you do that, it won't be very aesthetically pleasing. see I have this area that I couldn't fill here. If I couldn't manage to slab a piece of clay long enough to be able to slice it and fill around the whole entire thing. So I have this other piece here, and well, there's a problem. It's not long enough, or it's too long. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna match it up to where you got your second piece that you attach. You're gonna mark that. Go ahead and nicely slice it. Dip the end in water. Apply some water to the end. Get that little slip thing going on. Go right ahead and join them carefully. Very carefully. In fact, since it is still a bit large, I'm going to stick to joining this first end originally, and then I'll slice some more off the other end. If you have correct tools, you could also blend this together a bit better than by hand. I'm sure this isn't going to come out very, perfect. So here's where I'm at with my pot. Again, it's nothing special. Originally, one of the main things that got me into the idea of attempting to make my own pot was I was looking at some ceramic ideas, and I saw a beautiful factory, like kind of like a pottery factory in Japan that strictly made bonsai pots, and they made some amazing works. Of course, they had a lot of tools and technology to help them do it, but they still have been working with the same stuff for hundreds and hundreds of years. So, of course, this is nothing like that, but that was one of the things that got me into the idea of at least attempting to make a pot. And I would imagine it'd be easier to customize a pot for your plants, your bonsais, because you could fit the exact personality of the tree with the glaze color and the shape of the pot if you know what you want to make. And you could also customize your drainage for the type of plant, whether it be juniper, buttonwood, crepe myrtle, or basically any other type you plan on working with. So now I'm going to make the holes. And remember, I had this weird thing I found. This should be perfect. And I'll make little marks. Actually, can you see where can you see from my... Yeah, I'll move the camera. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of mark where you want to do it. So I'd say those two areas would be a good drainage areas. And go ahead and apply pressure. I was hoping this thing would pull out the clay with it. Maybe this one will. Nope. But now I have my holes. So I'm gonna try to get these out. So you can see I have my holes now. Here's the plugs. And when this is dry, I'll show you a good way to put mesh over the holes and basically kind of use the wire to wire it in there. And I will probably make a video when I'm done glazing and firing. And if you want, you could suggest a glaze color in the comment section. I'd actually really appreciate that. I was thinking of doing, amber. It's kind of a traditional color. It'll fit a lot of plants. I don't particularly know exactly what I'm going to put in this one yet. Okay, So what I went ahead and done here with the pot was I took my trusty guitar string and I sliced under the bottom of the pot so I could get it up off the table and get it on this little tray here. I mean, it looks like we're gonna have some thunderstorms shortly, so I thought I should make it mobile. I waited till it was closer to leather hard before I lifted it, and I lifted it and set it on this tray afterwards. But I flipped it over and I attached the little nubs on the bottom. You could see them there. And that keeps the pot off the ground so water can escape. Also, prior to lifting the pot, I depressed the bottom there a little bit for that effect. You could see that. It's very important if you have a pot not to have it sitting flat on the ground, or you're gonna have, drowning plants. It almost negates the purpose of putting drainage holes. But this is pretty much the finished product of the pot. Remember, pots are not the only things you could make with ceramics. The possibilities are endless, from plates to statues to vases, and it's a very enjoyable thing to work with. It's very relaxing. So to anybody who hasn't worked with ceramics ever, I highly recommend it. It's fun, it's very enjoyable, and you can be very creative with it. For instance, just last week, I made this little plate here, and it was very simple. It took me less than 10 minutes to make the plate itself. I just took an old miso box and I flipped it over. I slabbed a piece of clay, I cut it out like a square, and threw it over the, the box. It's kind of like a drape. And after firing, I, put the glazed designs on it. So, there's a number of things you could make, and it's very, very fun to work with. So I definitely recommend for anybody who hasn't yet worked with ceramics to do so. So here's the finished product of the pot. Thanks for watching.